Bhagavad Gita Bhashya is Smriti Prasthana. So the Prasthana Trayas are all covered by these granthas, and Sharanagati Gadya and the Gadya Trayas are the outpourings of the devotional aspect of Bhagavad Ramanuja in a wonderful way in front of the Lord Ranganatha and Ranganayaki. And Nitya Grantha is the Bhagavad Aradhana Krama which a Sri Vaishnava is supposed to follow on a daily basis. So Bhagavad Ramanuja has given us these 9 granthas consisting of all these aspects. Out of that, the first one, the Vedartha Sangraha, is the very first one. And Sri Sudarshana Suri, who is also the celebrated commentator of Sri Bhashya, Shruta Prakashika, has written a wonderful commentary of Vedartha Sangraha also. And probably without that commentary, it's very difficult to understand the depth of the Grantha Vedartha Sangraha. And Sudarshana Suri, who is the commentator, says in the Tatparya Deepika that Vedartha Sangraha was given as a series of lectures by Bhagavad Ramanuja in Tirumala in front of Lord Venkatesha. As the name itself indicates, Vedartha Sangraha is the philosophy of the Vedas, the Vishishtadvaita Darshana, as depicted by Bhagavad Ramanuja. So he did not call it Vedantartha Sangraha. So it is not just based on the Upanishads, but according to Ramanuja, the entire Vedas form one consistent single unit. That is the Samhita, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, and the Upanishads. All put together is one single unit. They are like different chapters of the same book. So that is why Vedartha Sangraha is very anvartha. The name itself is proper, so that it says that he is talking about the entire Vedas as one unit. And as the Sampradaya says, Bhagavad Ramanuja has basically, he says he follows whatever has been given by the Purvacharyas. So he mentions various acharyas, Bodhayana, Tanka, Dramida, Guhadeva, Kapardi, Bharuchi, Prabhrati Avigita, Shishta Parigrihita, Puratana, Veda Vedanta Vyakhyana, Suvyaktartha, Shruti Nikara Darshitoyam Panthaha. This is the Vakya he says in Vedartha Sangraha. Shruti Nikara Darshitoyam, he says the entire Shrutis, Upanishads of course are the most important part which give the Swarupa of the Paramatman. According to Ramanuja, the Purva Kanda talks about the Aradhana Prakara and the Uttara Kanda about the Aradhya Swarupa. So both are very important for us, he says. Out of these, the granthas of these acharyas are not available to us today, but Ramanuja quotes profusely from Tanka and Dramida in Sri Bhashya and Vedartha Sangraha, both the granthas. Tankacharya wrote a commentary called Vakya on Chandogya Upanishad. Dramidacharya wrote a commentary on that, and that is called as, so Ramanuja refers to Dramidacharya as Bhashyakara in many places. The Vedartha Sangraha, as the name indicates, Ramanuja has referred to all the important granthas which are available, the pramanas which are available, all the, of course, the Vedas and all the Upanishads. Out of the Upanishads, the noticeable aspects are also that, the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, the Atharva Shikhopanishad, Atharva Shiropanishad, these are also given very lot of importance by Bhagavad Ramanuja, and Subalopanishad also, and also the Brahma Sutras, Purva Mimamsa Sutras, Manusmriti, several other granthas, all the Nyaya Shastra granthas, Mimamsa granthas. Nyaya and Mimamsa are also given a lot of importance because they fall under the 14 Vidyasthanas, Chaturdasha Vidyasthana. So that is also given a lot of importance by Bhagavad Ramanuja. But out of these, we can probably say the Taittiriya Aranyaka, in which there is the Swarna Gharmanuvaka and the Purusha Sukta, which are extremely important. Those two come under Taittiriya Aranyaka. That one, Mahanarayana Upanishad, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, Taittiriya Upanishad, and also among the Puranas, Vishnu Purana is given prime importance by Bhagavad Ramanuja. And what is that Bhagavad Ramanuja has depicted in Vedartha Sangraha? Most important aspects of Vishishtadvaita Darshana they have been established in this Vedartha Sangraha by Bhagavad Ramanuja in a very convincing way. Out of that, probably a very important aspect is the Sharira Shariri Bhava, which Bhagavad Ramanuja has. It is probably his unique contribution to the world of Shastras, the world of Darshanas, and it probably, today it's very, very important as it talks about the entire universe, entire consisting of Chetana and Achetana, being the body of the Paramatman, the Sharira of the Paramatman. So this brings in a lot of harmony and unity in the entire universe, because they all form the Sharira of the Paramatman, and they are inseparably associated all the time. That is called the Apratak Siddhi Sambandha. That is, and Sharira Shariri Bhava has been depicted, has been found in the Vedas, in the Smritis, in the Sutras, everywhere. Ramanuja quotes a number of pramanas. For Sharira, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, of course, directly talks about Sharira. It says, Yaha Prithiviyam Tishtan Prithivya Antaraha Yam Prithivi Naveda Yasya Prithivi Shariram Yaha Prithivim Antaro Yamayati Sata Atma Antaryam Yamritaha. So there are about 21 times it talks about Sharira talks about Prithivi, up, Tejas and everything. All the tattvas and everything is Sharira to the Paramatman. And that is in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And there are many other names also given to this Sharira. Shakti, Amsha, Rupa, Tanu, Vibhuti, Vapu. They are all pramanas like Parasya Brahmanaha Shaktihi. And in the Brahma Sutras, there is Sutra Amsho Nana Vyapadeshat. The word Amsha also talks about the inseparable relationship of the Chetana and Achetana with the Paramatman as Sharira. Mamaiva Amsho Jivaloke, that is quoted in Bhagavad Gita. Vishnor Amshaha Dvijottama from Vishnu Purana. Parasya Brahmano Rupam, that is also in Vishnu Purana. Tat Sarvam Vai Hares Tanuhu. Jagat Sarvam Sharirante. This is from Srimad Ramayana. Vishnoreta Vibhutayaha, again in Vishnu Purana. Tani Sarvani Tad Vapuhu. So if you look at for Sharira, it is given in all these Shruti, Sutra and Smritis, but in a number of ways, in different names are used for this concept. So it is not something new I am talking about, says Ramanuja. He depicts the Sharira Shariri Bhava in a most convincing way in this particular Grantha. And he talks about Apratak Siddhi, that is, everything is inseparably associated with the Brahman. And this is very different from the Samavaya, which is propounded by the Nayayikas, where Samavaya is told as a Padartha among the Sapta Padarthas. Apratak Siddhi is just a relationship. So that is also depicted here. And another important aspect is the cause of the universe. Who is the cause of the universe? So when we talk about the cause, there are 2-3 different aspects which come into the picture. One is that there is a material that is required. It's called the material cause, the efficient or the intelligent cause, and the instrumental cause. So we call it Upadana Karanam and Nimitta Karanam and Sahakari Karanam. If you want to make a pot, you need the mud, which is the Upadana Karanam. The Kumbhara is the Nimitta Karanam. And all the Danda, Chakra and these things are all the instrumental cause, the Sahakari Karanam. So, as the Shruti says, Sadeva Somyedamagra Sid Ekameva Dvitiyam. Before Srishti, there was only one by name Sat. So, Bhagavad Ramanuja established that Paramatman is the Upadana Karana, Nimitta Karana and Sahakari Karana, and he establishes it Sutra, Shruti and all these pramanas. And there is another aspect called Samanadhikaranyam, where it says Jagatcha Saha. Vishnu Sakashad Udbhutam Jagat Sarvam, all these things it says, and Jagatcha Saha, the entire world is Vishnu only. That means it says Vishnu Purana, you can see, even in Purusha Sukta, Purusha Evedam Sarvam, everything is Purusha. How is it possible? Everything is Purusha. So Bhagavad Ramanuja says, by means of the Samanadikaranya. So Antaryami, Bhagavan is the Antaryami of everything, and they are all Visheshanas. And Bhinna Pravrti Nimittanam Shabdanam Ekasminnarthe Vrittihi. That is how is defined by Kayata, which Ramanuja uses and establishes here. So Tattvamasi Vyakhyana, probably Vedartha Sangraha, about 30 to 40% of the work is devoted to explanation of the Tattvamasi Vakyartha, which is extremely important for the darshana. And he also establishes that Brahman is distinct and different from everything else. Brahmana samasta swetara samasta vilakshanatvam. He is different and distinct from everything else. So that is the distinguishing factor. There is a wonderful shloka which Ramanuja quotes in Vedartha Sangraha. Ekatve sati nanatvam, nanatve sati chaikata, achintyam brahmano rupam, kastadveditum arhati. When he is one, he is many, he is many, he is one. How can anybody even think about such a wonderful nature of the Paramatman, he says. So this shloka is explained in great detail in the Vedartha Sangraha. And he talks about Moksha Swarupam, Nitya Vibhuti, that is Paramapada. There is a real world called Paramapada which exists, where all the liberated souls go and join the Paramatman. So all these aspects, and of course there are many aspects of Vishishta-Advaita Darshana established here. For short of time, I have just put a few of the points alone here. In this talk, I am going to focus about the Veda, the Samhita, Brahmana and Aranyaka Pramanas that are used in Vedartha Sangraha, and what are the aspects that are established by Bhagavad Ramanuja. So, first of all, Bhagavad Ramanuja says Vedas are Apaurisheya, and Smritis and others which are also in line with the Vedas. The message of those Smritis, the Puranas, Itihasas, which are all in line with the Vedas, are also Pramana for us. And he establishes the Nityatva and Anantatva in a very convincing way. Entire Veda is one unit, one Shastra. Brahma is Sarvakaranam, and Brahman's Sarva Shabda Vachyatva, Sarva Veda Vedyatva. Because the Brahman is Antaryami in everything that exists, there is nothing which doesn't exist without Paramatman. So he is the Antaryami in everything. Every word denotes in the ultimate analysis Paramatman only. And Sarva Karma Phalapradatva. This is another very important aspect. Who is the giver, bestower of the fruits? Whenever we do any act, who gives the fruits? Whether the karma itself gives the fruits, or the Devate gives the fruits, or Paramatman gives the fruits. So this is discussed by all the Darshanikas in a detailed way, and Bhagavad Ramanuja establishes that Paramatman is the bestower of all the fruits of all the karmas. Aham hi sarva jnanam, bhokta cha prabhurevacha, Krishna says. Bhokta, Bhagavad Ramanuja says, he is the Aradhya, and Prabhu, he is the Phalaprada. And he gives a grand description of the wonderful form of the Lord, Divya Mangala Vigraha, at the end of the work. So how is that Vedas are Apaurisheya? He says, Vedas, first of all, in the Purusha Sukta, which talks about Srishti, Tasmat Viradajayata Virajo Adhipurushaha. This comes in the Purusha Sukta. So the Anda was created by Paramatman, and then Chaturmukha Brahma was created. So Chaturmukha Brahma is the Adi Chetana. He is the very first soul. He came into Srishti. So Paramatman teaches all the Vedas to Chaturmukha Brahma, and then it is further propagated through various rishis and all the other beings in the Srishti. That is how it is explained by Bhagavad Ramanuja. So all the Puranas and things which are not, there are many Puranas, there are many Itihasas, Smritis, which are not really in line with the Vedas if we examine. So Bhagavad Ramanuja says Chaturmukha Brahma is also Trigunatmaka. So he is also under the influence of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Whenever he is under the influence of Tamas and Rajas, these Puranas have come. So we do not accept those as Pramana, and whichever is not against the message of the Vedas, it is Pramana for us. That is a stance taken by Bhagavad Ramanuja. And every word denotes Paramatman in the ultimate analysis. It's called the Apariyavasana Vritti. Paramatman being the Antaryami. All the words denote Paramatman. The Apaurushayatva and Nityatva, Bhagavad Ramanuja establishes. He writes like this. Yatratu Ucharana Kramaha Purva Ucharana Kramajanita Samskara Purvakaha Sarvada Apaurisheyaha Techa Veda Ityuchyante Yetadeva Vedanam Apaurushayatvam. He says, all the time Vedas have been propagated by Guru Charana and Anucharana by the Shishya. It is always coming through Guru Shishya Parampara by Ucharana and Anucharana. This is the only way it has come. So nobody has created it. This itself is proof to say that Vedas are apaurushaya. They are not created by any Purusha. It is always passed on from the Acharya to the Shishya through Ucharana, Anucharana, Krama. And the Nityatva is also because Bhagavan in the very first Srishti, when he created Chaturmukha Brahma, he teaches Veda to Chaturmukha Brahma. Yo vai Brahmanam virdhati purvam, yo vai Vedanscha prahinoti tasmai. Shruti says that he taught Chaturmukha Brahma. So he also did not create the Vedas. He taught it. That means that is also coming through Ucharana, Anucharana, Krama. That establishes the Nityatva and Apaurushayatva, Ramanuja says. And it is always the Anupurvi which is very important in the Vedas. The order in which the words are coming. That is always learned because of the Ucharana, Anucharana. Just in the way, the order in which Acharya recites, the Shishyas also recite. They learn in the same way, the same swaras, same order, everything. That is how it is established all the time. It is Nitya. The Anupurvi is only, even the Laukika Shabdas are also generated from the Vaidika Shabdas, but the only difference is Anupurvi. The Vaidika Shabdas, Anupurvi may not be there, but in the Vaidika Shabdas, always Anupurvi exists. That is why they are called the Vedas. And he also says that Vedas are completely self-valid, Swata Pramana. That means Vedas consists of, we have mantra, arthavada, vidhi, and many other aspects. So there are many views wherein the Mimamsakas say that arthavada is not fully self-valid, but there are many cases where if you have to explain a vidhi, you have to resort to the arthavada. So Ramanuja cites a number of examples from Jaimini's sutras and the Vyakhyanas, where he says how even there many times we have to resort to the arthavada. Like one of the examples is Tasmat Brahmanaya Napagureta. One should not insult the Brahman. Brahmana is a vidhi. It is an injunction. So what is the phala if somebody does this? It doesn't say. The vidhi doesn't tell the phala. So you have to resort to the arthavada, that because of only through arthavada vakya you can make out the phala. Yopaguratai chatenayatayat, it says the Veda. So he will get what is the phala he gets is always known. In that case it is known from the arthavada. So there are many instances where even Mimamsakas resort to this. Ramanuja establishes that arthavadas are also Swata Pramana. That is the reason why Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma and such vakyas, which are not vidhis, are also fully valid by themselves. And in the Purva Kanda, according to Ramanuja, it says, talks about the Aradhana Prakara, and the Uttarakanda, the Swarupa of the Aradhya, that is the Paramatman. And he says Upabrahmanas are explaining the meaning of the Vedas, Veda Shakhas. How is Vedas Anantya? How do you say that Ananta vai Veda? Veda itself says they are Ananta. But we talk about Yajurveda, Rigveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. There are only 4. That means we are limiting Vedas. So Ramanuja says each of these Vedas have got unlimited branches, Shakha. Number of shakhas are unlimited, and what is available to us is only some of them. They have got, so all the Upabrahmanas which are explaining the meaning of the Vedas in line with the message of the Vedas are actually talking about the meanings which are told in Anadhita shakhas, that is that which is not under Adhyayana today, which is not available. Those shakhas meanings are also explained in the Upabrahmanas. So whichever is in line with the Vedas are fully valid for us is what he says. And there are many examples which Ramanuja gives for all these to establish, and I don't think we will have enough time to go through all of them. Probably you can refer to the material later from the website, because we may have another 5 minutes or 8 minutes, 10 minutes like that. And Brahman's Sarvakaranatvam is another important aspect established by Bhagavad Ramanuja. Like I said, here Ramanuja takes a Taittiriya Brahmana Vakya. Even the Brahma Sutra, Sakshacha Ubaya Amnana, there is a Brahma Sutra in the Prakriti Adhikarana, first Adhyaya, fourth Pada of the Brahma Sutras, wherein These Brahmana Vakyas are taken by Bhagavad Ramanuja in Sri Bhashya. So he says, how do you establish the Upadana Karana and Nimitta Karana, Sahakari Karana? All these are Paramatman alone. These Brahmana Vakyas are quoted. Kiggas Vidvananka Vusa Vriksha Asid Yatodhyava Prithivi Nishta Takshu. This is the Brahmana itself. The Veda puts a question. Who was the Vanam? Who was the Vriksha? And who was the supporter? Who was the Adhara of everything? And the Veda itself gives an answer. Brahmavanam Brahmasa Vriksha Asid Yatodhyava Prithivi Nishta Takshu. Brahma itself was Vanan. Brahma itself was Vriksha. And he was the Adhara. He was the supporter of everything. So these Vakyas of the Brahmana are taken to establish that Brahma was the Upadana Karana. He is the Upadana Karana of the entire creation. And he is also the Nimitta Karana. This is a very subtle aspect which is discussed and debated in detail. There are many akshepas raised for this particular aspect, and they are all answered by Ramanuja in Vedartha Sangraha, Sri Bhashya and other granthas. And he also quotes from Purusha Evedam Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yacha Bhavyam, from the Purusha Sukta, for which Sudarshana Suri comments, Purusha Evedam Sarvam Iti Nimittatvam Upadanatvancha. Purusha itself was, he himself is everything, he is everything, and like this the Shruti says, this establishes the Upadana Karana also of Paramatman, is what Sudarshana Suri explains in the Tatparya Deepika. And Brahman's Sarva Shabda Vachyatva and Sarva Veda Vedyatva. Again, Ramanuja quotes a number of Vakyas, mantras from the Taittiriya Aranyaka, the Swarana Gharmanuvaka, and other, the third Prashna of the Aranyaka. Sarve Veda Yatra Ekam Bhavanti. Sarve Vedaha Yatra Ekam Bhavanti means all the Vedas are depicting only one object, that is the Paramatman. The meaning of the entire Vedas is the Paramatman himself. That is how every word in the ultimate analysis connotes the Paramatman, Bhagavad Ramanuja says. Similarly, Anta Pravishta Shasta Jananam Sarvatma. He entered into every soul and everything, that is, so every object and every soul, everything becomes a Vastu because he is present as Antaryami. Vastunaha Vastutvam comes from that Antaryamitva only. That's what he says. And Sarvanuma Ramarupa Vyakarana also. There is a Brahma Sutra also which says this particular aspect. Samjna Murti Kluptadikarana. Samjna Murti Kluptihi Trivrt Karana Upadeshat. Whoever did the Trivrt Karana also did the Namarupa Vyakarana, Brahma Sutra says. Sarvani Rupani Vichitya Dhiraha. Namani Kritva Vivadanyadaste. He only made all the names and forms. It's what the Shruti says. So these are all the pramanas taken by Bhagavad Ramanuja. And Anta Pravishta Shasta Jananam, which shows that he is Antaryami in everything. Saheva Santam Navijananti Devaha. Devaha here is Indriyas, which do not know the Paramatman who is existing as an Antaryami in every being. And he is also the Sarva Karma Phalapradat. He is the one who gives the fruits of all the karmas. This is also a very debated topic where who gives, the Yajna gives, or the Devata like Vayu, Agni, who are worshipped by the Yajna, they are giving the fruits, or is it the Antaryami of all these who is the Paramatman who gives the fruits? So Ramanuja establishes that the Yajnas are Achetana, they are Kshanika, they cannot give the fruit by themselves. And for this, of course, there are many, even the Mimamsakas, how they explain some of the, for example, in a Vayavyam Shvetamala Bheta, Bhutikamaha, in that Vayu is the Devata. So there also Vayu only gives fruits, is very clearly told. And Bhagavad Ramanuja establishes that the Antaryami of Vayu is the ultimate giver. He quotes this Taittiriya Aranyaka Vakya, Chaturuhotaro yatra sampadam gachanti devaihi. He explains this also. Chaturuhotaraha yajnaha yatra paramatmani deveshu antaryamitaya avasthite devaihi sampadam gachanti. If he doesn't exist as Antaryami, they do not have the powers, because Indra, Vayu, Agni, they are all, the Shabdas are Nitya, but the objects or the persons who occupy those positions are Anitya. Their life is also limited. So if we worship Indra today, after many, we don't know what time we will get the fruit of this particular yajna, that time a different Indra may be there. How does he come to know that he has to give this fruit, which has done by a particular adhikari? So Bhagavad Ramanuja establishes the only person who is Nitya all the time is Paramatman, and he only can give the fruits of all the karmas. And that is how he establishes that aspect. And Nitya Vibhuti and Vigraha, Divya Mangala Vigraha, all these are established by several Taittiriya Samhita and Aranyaka Vakyas by Bhagavad Ramanuja. And he says that there again, a lot of Mimamsa Nyayas also he quotes to say that Sarva Vishishtam Paramam Sthanam Vidhiyate, which is also used by Tadgunastu Vidhi, and there is a sutra, Jaimini Sutra, where they also apply a similar logic. So there are Pramanas and Nyaya, and Pramana which is in line with the Pramana. These are all used by Bhagavad Ramanuja to establish the presence of an eternal abode, which is a Nitya Vibhuti. And in the end, he gives a wonderful description of Divya Mangala Vigraha of Sriman Narayana, which is most striking to the minds of everybody, every reader. Yoso Aditya Mandala Antarvarti Taptak Arthaswara Girivara Prabha Sahasramshu Shata Sahasra Kiranaha Gambhiramba Samudbhuta Sumrushtanala Ravikara Vikasita Pundarika Dalamalaya Tekshana. This is the explanation Ramanuja gives for Kapyasam Pundarikameyo Makshini Shrutivakya, which is most beautiful explanation for that Shrutivakya. And he establishes all these aspects based on the Brahma Sutra, Antaha Tad Dharmopadeshat, where he says that Tad Dharmopadeshat Sayesha Sarvesham Lokanamishaha Sarvesham Kamanam Sayesha Sarvebhya Papmabhya Uditaha, and several other pramanas he takes. So he establishes all these aspects. So in this brief talk, I have tried to give you a very, very sketchy idea about what is Vedartha Sangraha, what is contained in it, how Bhagavad Ramanuja resorts to all the Shruti, Smriti, Itihasa and such pramanas to establish the basic tenets of the Vishishtadvaita Darshana. And it's a very, very deep grantha, and it requires a lot of time, lot of study, and whatever best I could do with the opportunity I have done. I thank you very much. I thank the authorities of the Bharati Vidya Bhavan, the authorities of ISKCON, who have organized this wonderful event and given me also an opportunity to talk about this wonderful topic, and other organizers, especially Professor Kannan, Dr. Ramanujan and others, and also the elite audience who have given me a patient hearing. Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.